Hi,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Okay, how are we doing? Are we gonna do this thing?
I guess how many people registered? I'm a little bit like I don't know if I'm ready.
That's okay. It's all
Not
good.
last
Replay,
night, so I'm just a little bit just I'm a little off my game today.
you're discombobulated?
I feel a little discombobulated. Yeah,
Oh boy, what's happening?
I just didn't sleep very well last night. Yeah, I didn't sleep well, so.
Well, that's not helpful, is it?
No. How many registrants do we have?
Let me go and see. I'm gonna broadcast live on Facebook too.
Ooh, not in the group, but on your page.
Should I do it? Well, I was gonna just do it in the Thrive group, yeah?
I don't know. I kind of would love to be able to just share it out to all of our network.
I can do it on my page. Let's see. Yeah.
I mean, we might as well get the exposure, right?
Yeah. True dat, sister. True dat.
Yeah.
All right. What am I looking at here? Oh, I was going to go look at registrants.
Oh God.
So let's see. So we had talked, I kind of forgot what we decided. So I'm fine either way. Oh wait, whoops, that's August.
I took notes. Look, I took notes. Look at my notes.
Yeah, I have all my notes too, but I can't remember if we decided. We have 6 people registered. Pre-registered.
What up, girl? We're trying to get our poop in a group, so don't mind us. It's kind of embarrassing. I want to put her in the waiting room. Can we put her in the waiting room?
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted.
So what I was gonna say is that did you want to do like a little 5-10 minute talk, or do you want to just jump in? I mean, I can like tee up our whole topics, and I have, I got to get my whiteboard. I prepared my Flipboard here with our I just have to get it pointing in the right direction. Hold on. There. So I have this, and we could just, if you want, we can just dive into these rather than, I talk for a while and then you talk for a while.
Yeah, I like that idea.
You do?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So I can tee it up, and then we'll just jump into discussion, and hopefully we get a question or two. And Shannon, if you have any questions as we're going, we would love yours as well. I can't hear you. I like this view though. You changed where you put your iPad, and I like it. Let me unmute you. Hold on.
Shannon, you could try to dial in via audio or via phone oh, there you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out and come back in because it's just saying wait.
Now. You look great
now. Yeah, but I can't see anything. So let me go out and come back in.
Okay. All right, so we want to do it on my page.
Yeah, and then I'll share it out on mine.
Oh, I have lunch on my screen here.
You have lunch?
Just like a splatter of salsa.
Oh, okay. Sorry, ladies. I don't know. Like, It was just saying waiting. It wasn't letting me in.
Oh,
I heard you joking that you weren't going to let me in.
Now we see you 2 times.
Oh, that's weird.
That's okay. I can take care of the, oh, there she goes. She's gone now.
Good.
Gone. Okay, so Melissa, you're kicking off. You're passing it off to me. I'll introduce myself, do both of your bios. I didn't have time to usually I like to memorize them and kind of flip them around a little bit, but I didn't have time because somebody didn't get them to me until yesterday at 4:00.
Sorry.
Melissa sent you mine, so I'm even worse. I didn't even send mine. Melissa just had an old one, and I'm like, oh, that's not the one that I would want you to use, but it's go ahead.
Well, you could just introduce us based on how you know us. You don't, I mean, I'm fine. I don't have to have a formal bio necessarily. So whatever you feel comfortable with, Shannon.
No, I'm fine. I have it pulled up so I can just read it. I mean,
They're also women. They're awesome business women that help other businesses get better in their business.
Businesses.
I didn't sleep very well last night, so this is going to be really interesting. I'm not my best self.
Yes, you are. You are your best self right now.
So I have it.
Everything's good.
I have an idea for our upcoming webinars that we don't call them webinars anymore.
Okay.
I want to call it a video show. We'll do a once monthly video show.
Okay. I like that.
And then we'll have the title. But I think webinar is just people are like, no, please, not another webinar.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I am, right? Really, I'm not going to another webinar. But an hour-long, quick, no sales pitch video show, all value would be good, right?
Yeah.
So, Melissa, when you, I thought I'd get zhuzhed up with the necklace.
Oh, very lovely.
Zhuzh it up. When you post it on Facebook, Shannon, we're going to stream it live. Also, when you put the thing, maybe don't call it a webinar. I'm
going to call it a video show.
Yeah, now, stream it live.
Okay, should we go live?
Are we going? What's happening?
Well, I got to wait for Allison to sit down, but then we're going to go live.
I'm trying to get my shit together here, guys.
It is 12:01, girl. Let's go.
All right, let's do it.
Well, I have 12 on mine. It's 12.
For 14 seconds.
Okay, are we ready?
Yes.
Sure.
All right, let me do this first. I'm doing the Facebook thingy. I can always edit and change all the Facebook stuff later on. So I'm not going to add a whole bunch of crap in there now.
Perfect.
Okay.
Sounds great. Let's do this.
Oh, this is going to be fun. We get to talk about marketing and sales. I love it. Oops.
No, it's my jam.
It's your jam.
It's our jam.
Up that jam. Pump it up.
I think
that's your theme song.
Every video show with a dance party.
Yeah, we're going to need a little intro. Okay. Why are you have the spinning wheel?
Are you doing this on your business page or your personal page?
I'm going to do it on my business page.
Okay.
So I'm going to try and have my phone over here is our confidence monitor to see if it's working. I can hear the wheels turning. Okay.
When you said video show, the thing that came into my head was video killed the radio star.
Nice.
No, that song is just in my head.
Try to think of something else. I'll send you something else to get stuck in your head.
Okay, I'm going to go broadcast here. I wonder if I hit that one first. I probably should hit this one first. Preparing, go live. I'm going to hit that one first. Let's see what happens. Okay, broadcast. Okay, we're live. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our, it is July still.
I think so.
Our July Thrive 2020 NoCo video show. We are doing monthly value-packed videos for you to help you maintain your momentum, grow your business, and even just have business continuity and survivability during COVID and all this pandemic and all the fun things that we're going through. So I'm so glad you're all here. I'm kind of distracted by all the buttons. We are live on Facebook as well as on our Zoom webinar here. So I'm so glad you are here, and I see our attendees are coming into the room. Hello, hello. I'm glad you gals are here. And okay, so I'm gonna focus now. I think we're all live. I haven't checked on Facebook yet, but it looks good. Are we good on Facebook? Okay, we're good on Facebook. Awesome. So what I wanted to start out with is just a couple housekeeping items. Number one is this session, this hour that we're here together is all about you. It is for you. We are here to help you maintain momentum in your marketing and sales throughout this challenging year and throughout any challenging time in your business. This is just a really great time for us to practice. So we are here for you to really offer you as much value as possible. And we want to have your questions, comments. Let's have a discussion. We are here to serve you and help. I already said that, but oh boy. I think some of Allison's punchiness is bled over into my little box here on the screen. So I also wanted to let you know our August video show is going to be on August 25th, and we are having the Economic Development Panel come back. And they were one of our most popular sessions during our April virtual live summit. And they offered tons of value about how businesses can take advantage of the resources of our economic development offices and what the municipalities are doing to help the business community. And so they're going to be back with updates, all the latest info and resources. So that is going to be a really great session. It's will again be 1 hour from 12 to 1 on the last Tuesday, the 25th of August. So mark your calendar now, because that's going to be a very popular value pack session. And so then now I'm going to introduce my wonderful co-hosts here, Shannon Richardson and Allison Profit. We'll hear more about Allison in a minute, but Shannon is definitely one of the masterminds of this group, and we are so delighted to get to hang out with you, Shannon. So I will pass it over to her so she can introduce herself and her business. Shannon.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday, right? I know we can't keep track of the day or the month, so we're given a little bit more grace these days, it seems. But everyone, my name is Shannon Richardson. I am a partner with the K&R Group of Merrill Lynch. We are a fiduciary financial planning team, and I think right now there's a lot of confusion about what's going on with the markets. They're actually doing really well, but we feel like our economy shut down and things are happening, and why is this happening right now? And so I think for us the most important thing is building a financial plan that's based on goals, so that we can work backwards with our clients to figure out what's the least amount of risk that they can take in their investments in order to achieve those goals. We don't need to take unnecessary risk, especially in times like these where we're expecting some market volatility. So I would just say, for a helpful hint for our attendees today, to make sure that the advisors that you are working with are fiduciaries, and to please ask that question to make sure you're having your interests looked out for and not their own. So with that, I have the pleasure of introducing our speakers today. So Melissa Kellogg-Lewitt, she is the social media lead for our Weibo group. So this all kind of hatched from our leadership team of Weibo. So if you're not familiar, Weibo is Women Entrepreneurs and Business Owners. And We're the leadership team for the Northern Colorado chapter. We're missing one of our leadership team members today, but we're 3 of the 4 anyhow. So, so this idea all hatched from that. And so I'm really happy to be able to strategize with these ladies on a regular basis and supporting each other's businesses, but also other business owners in the community. So with that, I don't want to miss anything on the bios because these women have a lot going on. So let me go ahead and just go through Melissa's bio. So Melissa is a marketing coach. She helps entrepreneurs in the early stages of business to master the marketing skills and the mindset around revenue growth. She serves her clients through one-on-one coaching. She's also a sought-after speaker and writer, and she's passionate about helping as many women as possible achieve their impossible dream of building an extraordinary business. And much of what she teaches and coaches on stems from her own personal experience that she's learned as an entrepreneur for the last 20 years. She has founded numerous internet and technology companies before finding her current company, which she founded in 2005. And her current business is Avanti Creative Group. And before that, Melissa earned a BA and MBA in marketing. And Melissa is also a wife and mother to 2 children, 3 if you count her fur baby, Golden Doodle, Ginger. And she's a huge ice hockey fan and gets her girl time in by playing on an adult women's ice hockey team called the Hot Flashes. So we always get a kick out of the Hot Flashes name. So thank you, Melissa. And then also I'd like to introduce our other speaker today, Allison Profit. Allison is the owner of Profit Coach, and that's with 2 F's. Profit Coach is a consulting firm that helps service providers and small business owners build, perfect, and manage a highly effective sales process that allows it to increase profitability over the long term. Specifically, she excels at helping clients in 3 ways. First of all, embracing a positive attitude towards the sales process. That's easier said than done sometimes, so you need a coach for that. Secondly, teaching proven strategies around what to say and then how to deliver that sales message. And I know we're going to hear some cool tips today. And lastly, taking all those strategies and applying those learnings via a role play in a group setting to master sales conversations, the flow of the conversation, objections, which are all key components we know of sustained sales confidence. Early in her career, Allison worked for 15 plus years in human resources in corporate America. So it's given her a deep business acumen in many different industries and roles, which I think advances her effectiveness with her clients. She's passionate about teaching others how to obtain the outcomes they can produce at the intersection of what is the business's mission statement and its outgoing sales messaging. And Allison realized she had a natural ability to execute an effective, and I always like this, a non-slimy sales process. Right? We don't want to feel slimy when we're going through a sales process. While she was working for Constant Contact, which is a digital marketing company. So since 2019, she's taken upon herself to teach others to do the same through Profit Coach. And she is known for saying that sales is like oxygen for a company. Without it, your business will cease to exist. So Allison hails originally from Philadelphia area, and she's lived in Fort Collins since 2017. And in her spare time, she enjoys reading, singing karaoke, which you guys don't know, we're doing a little kind of just a snippet of some karaoke before you got on. And then I've also heard a rumor that she likes to have a little dance party right before a Zoom call begins. We still don't know if this is true or not, but hopefully someday we'll find out. So with that, I'm going to pass it off to our speakers today, Melissa and Allison.
Okay. Thank you so much, Shannon. Glad that you're here. Okay. All right, let's dive right in. Now that we've got everyone introduced, you know our life stories. So we're going to dive right in to the meat of this presentation. Well, it's not really a presentation. We wanted this to be a roundtable and kind of a frank discussion about maintaining momentum and during all times in our business, because obviously this year has really thrown us tons of curveballs and kicked us in the butt in so many ways. And so it's been a really great opportunity for all of us to really learn how and if we even want to maintain momentum. But this is something that we've heard about from a lot of our clients as well as in our own businesses. And so we wanted to just go ahead and dive in. Okay, so what I wanted to start with is to really to define momentum, and I have my definitions here just so we're all on the same wavelength of
I love that you're so prepared. I'm just sitting here. I'm just like, I'm ready. I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm just ready to dive into this conversation. Melissa's
okay,
so prepared. She's like got her whiteboard. She's got a definition.
Whiteboard.
It's amazing. Yeah. We're like totally different in our styles, and I just love how we complement each other.
I know. Okay, so momentum. This is the is this Merriam-Webster? No, this is not. This is Merriam-Webster's definition of momentum: force or speed of movement, impetus, as of a physical object or a course of events. So I love the ideas of force or speed of movement. And dictionary.com says that momentum is, oh no, I'm sorry, here's Merriam-Webster. Strength or force gained by motion or by a series of events. So what I love about this definition is it really talks about strength and it talks about motion. And that's really what momentum is not necessarily a place that we get to, but it's a place that we continue little by little each day. It's all the small steps. So we can create our own momentum, and we start that creating it in our thoughts, because everything is a thought before it actually becomes something tangible. So, so you have the power right now to create your own momentum. And so momentum doesn't have to be something that you're looking for outside of yourself. You can create that with your own thoughts, which will drive your actions and your own energy, as Allison will tell us about. She's great about talking about energy. And so I'm going to offer a couple ideas of how, or we both are, of how we actually maintain and create momentum. And so I have my whiteboard here, and these are things that Allison and I came up with, and we're just going to kind of fill in each one of these. The first one is pivoting, because what we can use obviously this year as a great example, but this can happen anytime in our businesses when we feel like the momentum is starting to slow down. And so this happened this year, but these are some tips or some actions that we can take to keep that momentum going. The first one, and before I do that, do you have any input, Allison, or anything you wanted to talk about on momentum and defining momentum, or what momentum means to you?
There's a quote that comes to mind. I don't know who said it, some brilliant person, that if we're not growing, we're dying. And so I think that sums up momentum beautifully. Somewhat darkly, but but it's true. I think it's just having momentum of some sort, even if it's maybe doesn't get you to where exactly you planned to go. The change is constant, so your plans are always going to change, and if you're holding on so tightly, you might actually be holding back that momentum. So yeah, if we're not growing, we're dying. That's what momentum means to me. Oh, I can't hear you.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
There's a vacuum cleaner going in the background, so I just muted my microphone for a moment. But my grandmother used to say, when you stop moving, you start dying.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. So it's for aging too. I'm just looking at comments. So thanks you guys for hopping into the conversation. A comment, Karen says, as opposed to inertia, the tendency of an object at rest to stay at rest. Yes. Right. And I love that point, because that's, I recently listened to a podcast all about the 1% that creates momentum, right? That like I was saying earlier, momentum isn't, doing 100% or even 50%. Momentum is just keeping in motion, even if it's just doing that 1% each day. It's the little steps. And so we really wanted to just share with you some of what we've experienced in our own lives and businesses and with our clients on how we can continue the momentum. So one of the ways that we've talked about is through pivoting. And there's a lot of different ways, obviously, to pivot based on your business. And you can pivot your entire business model. For example, I think of Rachel. She was a part of our virtual summit back in April. And she talked about, she's a kombucha brewmaster here in Fort Collins. And she pivoted because she distributed her product mainly through restaurants. And obviously in March, April, May, they had to close. And so she quickly pivoted her business and started offering home delivery. So she pivoted a large part of her business model. And you can certainly do that. Or you can pivot smaller, even think about smaller parts of your business, whether it's just how you communicate with people. I know my sister is a VP of finance for a sandwich chain, and they quickly got an app up and running. So they were able to pivot their business quickly into online ordering and maintain their sales revenue. So there are little ways that you can pivot and big ways too. And one thing that I think is super important when you're considering pivoting is knowing your ideal client super, super well and exactly what they need and want from you and your service, your products. So, Allison, thoughts?
No, I think the whole thing with pivoting is really important to talk about because I think it's not only just pivoting, but it's also knowing, like, do you actually need to pivot? I know for my own business, I had that exact thing happen to me when all the pandemic stuff started shutting down. Everybody was throwing that word out there. And I realized, oh, wait, I don't need to pivot. Just because everybody else is pivoting, what I do and how I did it was perfectly fine to continue doing that. And I didn't need to create anything new. And so I think the other thing is, like, don't pivot just unconsciously.
Right? It's the thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, and that story with Rachel from Life's a Booch, the kombucha company, I mean, it's amazing. Her business grew, and I had the honor of getting to have some really great conversations with her. But and she did it fast, even though she had to come up with building the parachute on the way out of the plane, so to speak. She did it. And they also they were in the midst of moving their whole operations to a new commercial kitchen that had to be built out, and they continued on with that. They didn't pivot away from that. So I think that's, pivoting is important as long as it's done with conscious intention.
Yeah, so good. And I think, really, like you said, don't do it mindlessly. That really, it's all about continuing to learn what your customers need. And I think that back when the pandemic first started here and we started shutting businesses down and quarantining and everything, there was definitely different needs for customers and clients then than there are now, perhaps. So it's a process of continuing to learn and stay in touch with your customers and your clients to see what they need and how they need it done. And I think of Stephanie Carlson, I believe.
Yeah, her story is amazing.
Yeah, she's a fashion designer here in Fort Collins, and she pivoted her business to start manufacturing face masks and other protective equipment. And And so she's done that, and obviously, you know, that's been super successful. But now she's in a period where she's even considering, you know, even what's the next iteration of that. And so it's that continual pivoting.
Yeah, and I think when we're on this topic of pivoting, there's some important questions to ask yourself, like, what are your talents and gifts? So for Stephanie, it was, you know, it was still in the design and manufacturing of some kind of garment item, that being face masks. I actually, I bought masks from her. They're very comfortable, and she's got different patterns and styles, but she didn't go down the path of just doing something totally out of her wheelhouse. And if you do have to pivot in any point in your business, I think it's important if you know the way you're going to pivot doesn't encompass things that you're already really good at, like, don't try to do it by yourself. You know, there were a lot of businesses that did have to move from like brick and mortar retail more into the e-commerce space. And if they tried to fumble through it on their own versus having either hiring somebody or working with the SBDC, or there's all kinds of great resources that are out there for small business owners, you don't need to do it by yourself. And so if you don't have that talent, remember, don't do it by yourself. It doesn't mean you shouldn't pivot, but it's just pivot smartly, I think.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and definitely get good counsel. And, you know, you've got two coaches right here. We're always willing to chat and help discuss those issues. And I love what Karen says in the comments. She says, pivot your channel, not your purpose. And so that's so great to remember, just sticking to your purpose and your commitment to your clients and your why, and pivoting based on that. So I love that. So any other questions or comments? I'm just looking through my notes here. I think, and Shannon, our own Shannon Richardson, I wrote her down as a great example of pivoting. Now, she didn't pivot her business. She's still a financial advisor and doing all of that. But what she did pivot that I thought was so brilliant during all of the quarantining is she really became a resource for her clients, and she just put herself out there to her clients and to her community as a resource. So not necessarily changing anything about her business, but just telling everyone, you know, that she's available to help them untangle all of the complexities of the PPP loans and all of the grants and regulations and things that were out there. So I just love that as a great way to pivot. And then one final thing that I had on this was thinking about the demographic shifts, and that there might be some great ideas in pivoting your business based on demographic shifts. And Allison has actually been a good example of this in helping folks to transition out of a full-time job into starting their own business. And that's going to be a huge demographic shift, I believe, and I think you do too, that as folks are not going to go back to work, or they don't have jobs for them, or reduced hours, they're going to be looking to start their own businesses and side hustles and so forth. And so that, you know, there are demographic shifts that could offer opportunities for you as well. Any last thoughts, Allison, or should we move on to number 2?
Yeah, let's move to number 2, because I think we're going to get into some of the things that I just love talking about. But yeah, the demographic shift, like pivoting is a really smart thing to do. And I think it kind of along the lines of what Karen said in the chat is just like staying connected to your purpose and like doing what you love and selling what you love, because as long as you're doing that, you're going to be more likely to be able to market it in a really strong way and sell it in a way that feels really good. So yeah, pivot, but stay connected, I think is really important. But yeah, let's move on to topic number 2. I'm excited.
Yeah, okay, so number 2, we wanted to talk about regaining or maintaining momentum. You may have felt, and I know from my own experience, once COVID hit, I was actually sick at the time once everything kind of closed down in mid-March, and so is Allison. So I was in bed for like 10 days. And so I, slowed down because of that. And then obviously things closed down. And and all the, stress and not knowing what was happening, I think, just kind of compiled, and I just felt like I lost so much momentum. And then in my business, I love in-person networking and have in-person meetings, and we weren't able to do that anymore. And so I was throwing a fit, like, how am I gonna, I have big goals and dreams for my business this year. And
envision you just stomping your feet out of defiance.
Total toddler.
No, this is not happening.
I did yell some profanity at COVID, I have to admit. But what I had to remember, though, is that momentum can be regained at any moment. So it's not like, oh, I got to start all over and start from the beginning. No, just start where you are. Your momentum hasn't left. You just pick it up and you keep on going, because like we said, it's created in our thoughts and in our energy, right, Allison?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was clearing my throat. I was clearing my throat. I'm getting ready to say something profound. I'm not sure what it is. Get ready for people, strap in.
So
yeah, it is created in our thoughts. I'm totally going to jump in and agree with you there. And at some point in our conversation, I'd love to do a screen share and just kind of share a little bit more about this energy model that I love talking about, that I think is a really powerful way to visualize this kind of momentum thing and the shifting your thoughts and how to do it in a way that's sustainable. So I'll wait for your cue in order for me to do that, but I'm just I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, I think I'm just looking at my notes. I think for me, in regaining or maintaining momentum, it's a lot, especially when the circumstances around us are changing so drastically. One of the questions to ask yourself is, what has worked? What has worked so far that I know that I have confidence in? And then how can you reverse engineer that? So in my own example, when I could no longer do in-person networking, and I had to take that online, but I was kind of throwing a fit about that because, I like social media and so forth, but I didn't know if I could grow my whole business on, in social media and just networking online and Zoom meetings and whatever. But I knew that worked for me in the past. So I figured, well, let's see if I can take what I love about in-person networking and translate that online. And so you can do the same thing in your own business, of parts of it that really do work, and how can you reverse engineer that and keep that momentum going in your sales and in your marketing, even now, even with circumstances changing. So Allison, why don't you tell us more, since I know this is definitely in your wheelhouse, this part.
Oh, yes. I'm going to share my screen. Is that totally acceptable?
Yeah. Do I have to give you permission, or you already have permission?
Oh, I don't know. I need to, please grant me access. Oh, please. I don't know if it's going to work. So while I'm waiting for Melissa, essentially what I'm going to show on the screen here has a lot to do with what I call energy of sales. And it has a lot to do with the momentum and the way that we are able to sustain, take action in a way that is sustainable. So let's say, for example, are you still trying to figure that out? Yeah, okay. So let's say, for example, you are taking action from a place that is more conflict oriented. If you feel like you have no other choice, and so you're like, I'm not gonna close down, I'm gonna stay in business, this is what I'm gonna do, because there's no other choice. That taking action from that place, you may actually burn out. You might burn out your just your energy, right? Like you're doing it from a place of force. I jotted that down, just like the force or speed of movement in the definition of momentum. And I think that there's something to be said for just understanding where your action is coming from. Did the screen share work? Let's see.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Super.
You should be good to go.
Yay. Okay. So there's a lot of stuff on this chart. I don't want you to get distracted too much in all the words on here, but I want, if you're tuning in, you can see that there are 3 succinct columns here at the top. And this is all work that's based on the work of Bruce D. Schneider. He's the founder of IPEC Coaching, which is the program that I'm a certified coach through. So everything is based on our thoughts, and it starts with our thought, and the thought then creates a feeling or emotion, and it's actually the hormonal response that's happening in your body based on the thought that you're having. And then the action that you take is based on those preceding things, and then that helps create the results. So you'll notice there were a lot of people, and this is still in existence, because the truth is there's a lot of fear going on in the world from our government, from everywhere, right? It doesn't even matter. Like, this is not a political discussion. It's just true. People are afraid of this virus. People are afraid of what's going to happen in their business. People are afraid of what happens when you go back to your kids going back to school. What happens if your spouse loses their job, right? Like, there's a lot of these, like, what if. Like, if you find yourself asking a lot of what if questions, you may be living more down in this space of what is more called this catabolic energy response. So when we're coming from a place of fear, the hormonal response that's actually happening, the word here is anger, but it could also be frustration. It is actually adrenaline that's flooding into your body. And you know, because you play sports, Melissa, you play ice hockey. I mean, look at her, everybody. Isn't she a badass? Like, she's so beautiful, and she's like all geared up in her ice hockey gear. I can just like picture it. I can't wait to see you play a game.
Come to one of the games.
Yeah, I'd love that. But when you're in the fight, so to speak, for the goal, that's adrenaline. That's pushing you to take action. And the thing about adrenaline is we can get things done, but we can't be in adrenaline state all the time. How do you feel after a game? You might feel some hype, you might feel that rush, but then at some point you're like, I'm tired, right?
I need a nap. Yeah,
I need a nap. You have to have that recovery period. And so if you are taking action and building momentum from that place of that force, from more of a conflict place or like defiance, you may face burnout. And so I think it's really important to be conscious about this model here. And I teach it in the context of selling, because if you're thinking, I got to get the sale, I got to move forward, you may end up unconsciously burning yourself out and maybe even driving people away, whether that's potential clients or potential partnerships, or even just like the people in your life. If you're just so stressed out all the time, playing down in the space of level 1, 2, and even 3, this level 3 energy is more about like rationalizing your way through a situation. So you may rationalize the situation to get things done, but what may be under the surface of it is really still feelings of like victim-y feelings or conflict oriented. So you may not have let go of the true thoughts under kind of, I'm going to take responsibility and take forward action so that I can just cooperate with the things that are going on in the world to make the results happen. The undercurrent might be this level 1 and 2 energy. So what we do have control over is nothing outside of us. We can't control the rules that are being made around this COVID stuff. We can't make changes around, just the state of the world around us. But what we do have control over, and this takes work, it's not a light switch, but it's the things that we think and how we are perceiving situations. And there's an amazing assessment tool that I can help people with really uncovering where are they on this chart. And it's a snapshot in time. So it's not a personality assessment, but it's a really great tool to help you see how exactly you may be showing up in life. And how we do anything is how we do everything. And then it also shows you where you are in stress response. And I think there's a lot of people that are operating out of their stress response right now. And so they may be creating action, creating momentum in their business, However, is it sustainable action? And it is dependent upon the thought. So this more higher vibrational thoughts are like reconciliation is like just kind of looking all around and kind of saying, what would a win-win look like for me, right? We are here. I'm going to assess the situation and I'm going to figure out how can I be at peace with where we are and then move forward. And it's just in this like more higher conscious place. This isn't woo-woo stuff. Like this is legit how the business owners that I've worked with through this coronavirus stuff have begun to really shift how they're thinking about their business, how they're thinking about the state of the things that are going on right now in the world, and where they feel about it is definitely, it's a powerful shift, because if we feel like we can be more joyful and peaceful despite all the chaos going around us and the things that are outside of our control, we can really start creating really beautiful, sustainable results. So that is what I wanted to share.
Yeah, I love that.
Around that.
And so momentum, our energy creates momentum, and then our momentum creates energy, right? Isn't it kind of a...
Yeah, exactly. Because if we're in that more higher vibrational place, it's just like, it's just more. It's easier to then have the sense of more and wanting to be able to, it just sort of, it builds on itself without effort. Like that's the thing. It becomes more like ease, flow, opportunities kind of come to you. People start showing up and you're like, oh my gosh, how do I know this awesome people? It's the same thing with how I met you and Shannon and got involved in Weibo, and then we launched the Thrive thing. And I mean, I think that there is some real powerful proof that this stuff does really work. And as Shannon shared, I launched my business in October. I think the statistics would say that I should not be succeeding at this point, but I'm thriving. Because energy stuff is really, really a powerful part of my tool, my personal toolkit. So yeah, I could like be on a soapbox all day long to just talk about this and give tips. And I'd love to even answer any questions that you have, Melissa, around how this could impact or show up in the kind of just maintaining marketing and sales energy in your business.
Yeah, I just love it because, put simply, then that energy is created by our thoughts, right?
Yeah.
Because so it's not something woo-woo that we're waiting to be dropped down out of heaven or wherever, that we can create that and begin that with our thoughts and how we're thinking about our circumstances, right? So we have a choice at any point. We have a circumstance. So we have COVID that completely changed the way we can do business. So we can't change that circumstance, but we can determine the energy, how it's going to affect us based on what we think about it.
Yeah.
So, and then that begins that energy, and we have to keep thinking about it. It's not like you said, the light switch or the one and done. We have to keep practicing those thoughts around momentum and, belief in ourselves. And it kind of goes perfectly into our third point here about cultivating resilience and resourcefulness. And because in order to maintain momentum, especially this year in times like this, we've had to become really resourceful, right?
So resourceful. Yes. Who do you know? Who can you meet? Where can you find your people and engage with them and virtually?
Yeah.
It's like, how can you make that whole journey more like a game, right? I mean, how, like, I'm going to find all the people and I'm going to reach out and see who responds, right? I mean, it's just having fun. Like when you can come at it from a place of this is fun and this is exciting versus like, oh, so stressful, I can't do this, stomping our feet, that doesn't feel as good. So what do you want? Do you want to feel good while you're navigating untenable circumstances? Or do you want to feel dragged down in the muck? Because it's how you think about the situation.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I love that because it really is. And we get to choose if we want to not feel good or if we want to feel good, because we're going to go through the pandemic anyway. Right? We can't change that.
Yeah. And that's not it's not, we're not being dismissive of the pain that's happening in the world. But the idea that pain in life is inevitable, but suffering is optional, is a really powerful concept, right? I mean, whether you're religious or not religious, I mean, there's, you know, people that have faith, that have a strong belief of some sort. That belief in many ways can guide them through hard, painful, fear-filled situations, knowing that they have everything they need, right? I mean, we are really pretty blessed. And this isn't about like, it's not just about gratitude. It's not just about like, oh, other people have it worse, but it might be true. You know, like, so what do we want to do with it? How, because again, if you think about the hormonal responses, those higher levels that I showed on the chart, the hormones that come out in our body when we're having those thoughts are those dose hormones, the dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. Like, those are the things that get the things done. That's where we can really be helping our body optimize itself to create results.
That's so good.
Really.
Yeah, and a lot of that does start with gratitude. You know, I love that you bring that up, because that's just, yeah, definitely something that will help to maintain momentum. If we can be thankful for where we are, anywhere we are, find one thing to be thankful for. You know, I talk to my son, that's kind of he's a pessimist, and I ask him that question all the time. What are you grateful for today? And half the time he's like, nothing, my life sucks, you know, but then I'll say, how about breathing? You know, are you grateful you're breathing? Yeah, I'm grateful I'm breathing. We kind of go from there, and we're all like that sometimes, but if we can find that one thing.
Yeah, exactly. And even if it seems, and it's like letting go of the comparison.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I've had some people that, you know, they'll look at me and hold me up on some pedestal of like, wow, like, how are you this way? And it's like, well, I've been working on this really intentionally for, you know, the past like 4 or 5 years. So, and your journey is yours. Like, I'm a different person. You have different circumstances than me and than Melissa. And so, like, start where you are, but start and be open and be curious about, you know, what is your purpose, and how is where you are right now helping you fulfill your purpose. And then if it's not, ask yourself the question, like, what might I be able to shift in my own self so that I can align more with being able to fulfill this purpose that I've been put on the earth for.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wanted to share some of my shifts. I'd love to hear yours too. Like, my shifts, one of them is just realizing that life is 50-50. Like, we can't expect life to be rainbows and unicorns all the time. That is not the purpose of our lives, is 100% happiness and joy.
This is ridiculous. I'm shutting down.
What? Newsflash. But when you realize that life is 50-50, you can actually live through the shitty part, pardon my French, and it's okay, because you just know that that's, you know, this is part of sadness, or part of disappointment, or part of just the human experience. And if we're going to be all in, you know, being a human and living our lives to the fullest, we're in for the awesome 50, and we're in for the crappy 50 too. So that helped me a lot in cultivating my own resilience, is just realize it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is fine. And that I also learned a lot during this period this year is that tough times magnify what's already there. So if we feel ourselves freaking out about time or money or, you know, scarcity, lack, all of that, those are all things that are not new to us. They've been there, but it's when we get in these tough times that really magnifies it, brings all of that out. And we can even see that in our culture, in our communities, right? It's just magnifying things that have been simmering under the surface. But what it does offer an awesome opportunity for us to deal with those things and to really up level because of them, and think about, how is this happening for me and not to me? And so that's forced me to really examine a lot of my thoughts, and what's the thoughts that are serving me and the thoughts that are not serving me in building my business and marketing. You know, if I'm paying attention to the news 24/7 and it's all doom and gloom, those are thoughts that are not going to be serving me, of how awful everything is and everything's going to hell in a handbasket. And then also to remember that we all have a lot of thoughts about, you know, our capability in business, our capability to keep going. And we have to remember that we have a lot of thoughts, but we don't have to believe all the thoughts we have. So just because we have a thought that I can't do this, this isn't working, you know, I'm exhausted, I can't fight anymore, that's fine. You can have that, but that doesn't mean you quit, you know? And finally, you know, just examining what's worked and getting creative. And we talked about that earlier. I heard this as far as resourcefulness. I don't know if this is true. I didn't independently fact check it, but I heard that a drug addict creates $250,000 a year in order to support their habit.
Wow.
So if we could get as resourceful, you know, legally, of course, as someone that, as a drug addict that's, you know, creating 250 grand a year, what kind of, you know, energy and thoughts would we need to be having to create that? I think that's such an interesting question.
Yeah, that is really interesting. And I think the idea of resourcefulness, and again, coming at it from a higher vibrational place versus that low resonance, like that's really powerful, because then we can say, like, I know that there's resources that will allow me to achieve whatever it is I want to achieve, right?
Yeah.
And I think, like, when we are, and I want to like circle this back to the topic at hand, which is around like maintaining momentum in marketing and sales. I think it's really important, when you think about your own resourcefulness, your own resilience in your sales conversations, if you're bringing that kind of more solutions oriented approach to your business and to the world, when you're having those sales conversations, when you're putting that marketing out, you are not putting fuel on the fire of the fear. You're really more kind of saying, hey, I'm going to shine a bright light on the possibilities that are out here. Come with me. Come on that path with me. And if you're able to create that kind of dialogue, that kind of energy in the conversations with your potential customers, you are going to begin noticing, oh, like there is opportunity. It's all around us. And it's because you're resourceful, and you're also thinking from a hopeful place, not from like this more victim-y place. You're putting your thinking cap on and thinking, okay, well, people that have less than me probably have been able to be successful. And like my own personal story, like I didn't have a safety net, you know, I quit my job and I left Colorado to go start a business, and that fell apart really fast. And then I had to move back here and figure it out. Maybe not the thing I would suggest to do, but I just used a lot of the resources that were around us, and went to the networking things and reached out to the SBDC. And guess what? People wanted me to succeed. Like, people want you to succeed. If you have an idea in your heart and a business that you're really passionate about, I bet you can find lots of people that would want to be in some way a helpful resource. And if you are in that place of stress, you're walking around with tunnel vision, and you're not seeing the solutions. You're not seeing the possibilities. You're just lumping yourself in with like, well, you know, everybody else is struggling, so I'm going to be on the struggle bus too. It doesn't have to be that way. be resourceful, reach out to people like myself and Melissa are here. You know, we're not going to charge you to just have a phone conversation. And there's many other people like us out there in the world. And so use those resources. Like, you're good enough. You have an idea. We want you to make sure that you feel supported. And there's lots of people out there wanting small businesses to succeed. So yes,
That's a
that's
great
what I want
point.
to say about all that.
Yeah, and those are resources to use, like you said, like the Small Business Development Center. What is it nocorecovers.com?
I'll drop it in the link in the thing here. Yeah.
It's a great website of resources for those of us in Northern Colorado, and for businesses looking for financing, for loans, for advice, all the good stuff that can help you during this time. And we'll start wrapping up now, and it's kind of a perfect segue into reminding you of our upcoming webinar or video show. We're calling it a video show in August with the economic development directors from here in Northern Colorado. We've got the economic development directors from Fort Collins and Greeley and Windsor and Loveland, right? And they're going to be talking all about the resources available for small businesses and to help us sustain and stay here and continue to operate and even grow. So yeah, nocorecovers.com is a good resource. And I got to put the link in here for that registration for that our next video show coming up. I have it right here.
Awesome. And while you're pulling that up, I'm also going to share, if you're a small business owner and you've been curious about some of the lending resources that are out there beyond the government programs of like PPP and the SBA loans, if you're here in Colorado, there's an organization called Colorado Lending Source. I'm just going to drop that link in here. I would definitely recommend you check it out. Their process is very unique. They do more character-based lending applications, which I think for small business owners, especially if you're a solopreneur, can be more challenging to get access to capital, especially if you like don't own a house and have a bunch of other assets. So it's a resource that I've recently tapped into. It's been an amazing process, and it just kind of gives you that additional access to resources like we were just talking about, so that you can continue to be resourceful and resilient. So yeah, perfect. Well, I can't wait for our conversation with the Economic Development Panel at the end of August. It's going to be really great. They're so excited to be able to have the opportunity to just connect with the, I guess you could say, their constituents, the people and the businesses that they support and serve. And yeah, I'll drop my contact info here in the bottom.
Let's put our contact info in. And yeah, let's please keep in touch and reach out to us if there's any way that we can support you. Like I said, we are having monthly video shows full of value to really help our Northern Colorado businesses to thrive during this time. And we hope that this has been a great session for you in maintaining momentum in your sales and in your marketing, because that's what we need to do in order to survive. And I just want to encourage all of you that this year has been a really good opportunity for us to up level that, and just think how badass we are all going to be when things settle down and we can kind of go back to life as normal. We are just going to be ready for anything going forward. And so this is a really great opportunity for all of us to learn what we're made of. And so obviously if Allison or I can help you in getting better results in your sales and marketing, we would love to do that. And we want to see all of you succeed. And we're so glad that you joined us today. Allison, do you have any last thoughts?
Just keep on being awesome, everybody. That's all.
All right, I'm going to put on my...
And just remember that your thoughts are really what creates your reality.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And thank
All
you to Shannon for our lovely introductions.
right. Yeah, thank you, Shannon. Oh, there she is. Hi, Shannon. She's still here with us taking notes. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you too, Karen. You're welcome. We're so glad that you joined us today, and everyone else. And feel free, those of you joining us on Facebook, we do get all the comments going forward. So please put any comments, questions. We will see those. And we'll see you again next time, August 25th. Thank you all. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.